why don't we go to some football? Because we know that Dave Spadaro's busy, news breaking out there all day on the Eagles. Dave Spadaro, how are you doing today, man? Still on a draft high?
Hey guys, how are you? No, I'm not on the
Oh,
draft side at all. Over the draft. I can't. Like,
yeah.
they're coming in next week, and honestly, I can't see the kids come in next week and at least run around and show what they can do in shorts and stuff. But it was a fun draft. Certainly the first round, and I think everybody's really excited to see what I think a wide receiver the consensus is can come in and contribute right away.
They obviously, look, I gave Howie a lot of credit on the show last week. They read the board right, moving back and then up, getting the first round pick, getting Devontae, rave reviews for it. What's the sense in the building about getting their guy? Are they as happy as it seems that they are right now? The reviews are very good.
Yeah,
of
I
course.
think so. Yeah, I think so. Look, I mean, this team needs a lot of work, and one player is not going to reverse the fortunes of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2021. And they've been trying for so long to get the wide receiver position right, using a lot of high draft picks. And I think they feel really good about Devontae. And he came in, and he's really an impressive kid. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah. But honestly, you love it, you evaluate it, and then you kind of go, all right, let's see what he's got when he comes in. And so that's kind of where they are now, getting ready for the rookie camp, which starts on Friday, and seeing how Devontae absorbs the offense and absorbs the information, which should not be a problem. But for sure, the move to get an additional number one pick next year and then moving two spaces up to get Devontae and only giving up a third-round pick is a very good net for the Philadelphia Eagles.
To me, the big news out of that as you're watching the draft as it's happening is when you hear Eagles and Cowboys work out a trade. How does that even happen nowadays?
It happened last year. It happens a lot.
Right.
Actually. I think it's happened like 5 times since 2000, 5 or 6 times. It just, look at in draft weekend. You just have to look at your roster and say, is this the best thing for my roster? You can't project what might be good for the Dallas Cowboys or might be detrimental for them. You just have to do what is right for your football team. So the Cowboys felt they could move back and still get their guy, and I'm sure they're very happy with Micah Parsons. And they pick up an additional third-round draft pick. And like last year, the Eagles made a trade, and that the player that the Cowboys drafted could be the starting center for the Cowboys for many years. So at the time, the Eagles' focus was on the Philadelphia Eagles. So it really does happen. Look, Donovan McNabb got traded to the Washington back then Redskins. That's crazy, but it happens.
When you look at the second round pick in Landon Dickerson, the offensive line obviously is going to need help over the coming years. Do you think that he was the right pick at that spot, or was there somebody else that you would have liked at that spot?
Yeah, I don't ever say that there's somebody else because I don't study the draft. Mm-hmm. So I think it's such a disservice that media who don't watch every play can offer an evaluation on a player, which I just don't think is fair. So I don't know. I didn't look after the first 10, 20 players. I honestly I don't really watch much college football. I evaluate the players when they become Philadelphia Eagles. But I can tell you what they thought about Landon. They thought that Landon was in that range, the upside, and his grade was so high. And there's an opportunity. Obviously, there's a risk with the injuries, but I don't anticipate him really being a factor this year. And so you give him a year to get healthy, and then you hope that you've got a 10-year All-Pro playing at one of your interior guard positions or your center position. And they felt that at that point, his upside was so much higher than anybody else on the board. So I get it. There's other needs. You don't want to draft for needs. You want to trust your board. That's what they did. We'll see if it works out, but I think everybody needs to mark it down and see if it was a risk worth taking or if it's one that comes back to bite the Philadelphia Eagles, as has happened in the past, a la Sidney Jones.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the new coach. I only get to see what I see on TV and in interviews. You're somebody who's been able to talk to him a little bit. What's your sense? It seems like he's a player-friendly guy. What's your sense sitting to him, getting to talk X and O's a little bit?
I'd rather ask you, what is your perception based on what you've seen of him, what you've heard about him, of Nick Sirianni? And then I will tell you because I met him for the first time in person last weekend.
So I'm gonna give this to Jason because Jason's the social media guy, and I think he has an interesting spin on this.
I think that there's been an overreaction to the things that people have seen. You know, he's a coach. He's not a media maven, and he seems to be very focused on coaching. And frankly, in the end, if he's a good coach that relates to the players, I could really care less whether he gives a good interview. So for me, I'm not overreacting to, the fact that they, ask them questions about Jeopardy or something else. Like, you want to get creative? That's fine. I'm curious more to see what type of offense they install, what type of defense they run. And I haven't really made any judgment on that. So I'm not down on it. I like his passion and excitement for what will be a young team to coach. I think that might be good to have that enthusiasm and new voice in the building. But I'm not the overreactor. I question maybe like, okay, well, why did they do that? But I don't think that anything I've seen has really been bad yet. I think that the jump to a reaction is what really happens all the time is people try and form an initial opinion and then they don't get off that opinion. So somebody didn't like his first press conference, therefore they're not going to like him. And that's ridiculous. He's a good coach. Who cares how his first press conference went?
Yeah. What I've seen of people, of the perception of Nick, is that he's a yes man and he's soft. And so last Thursday night, I saw him for the first time, met him face to face for the first time. He walked out of the building. I was like, wow, who's that guy? He's tall. So he's bigger. He's ripped. He's jacked. Gets in the car, filled with personality, sees some fans, yells out to the fans, rolls down the window, has some fun with them, gets into the stadium. We're there for the NFL draft, the Eagles draft party. He goes, hey, we're supposed to go up to like the platform and just say a few words to the fans. Thanks for coming. Exciting weekend ahead, blah, blah, blah. And he sees some fans throwing a football around in Head House Plaza, and he goes out there and says, I got to go have a catch with these guys. Goes out and have a catch with the fans. Does his piece, does a really nice job. Signs some autographs on the way out, some selfies, throws a football around. I mean, he's so engaging. He's so the man. He's so intense. He will rip your nose off and shove it down your mouth. And so it makes me laugh that people think that he's soft and he's so intense. I can't wait to see what he's like on the sidelines. I can't wait to see what he's like with the players. Love Doug and everything. I think that Nick's style is going to be different. He's going to be much more demanding, much more intense with the players. We'll see how that plays, of course. And I could be wrong. I'm just guessing here. But based on his personality, I mean, he takes over the room. And so the media perception of him kind of being this funny lollygagging is like so dead wrong. And in time, fans will find that out.
See, and I'll tell you, anybody who's listening to this right now, who's an Eagles fan, is going to feel completely different probably than they felt before you said that. Because I think, I don't think
it's great.
Yeah, see, I don't think it's because it's not Nick necessarily. It's not this coach. It's because we just went through Gabe Kapler in a different sport, and I think that the city is wary of that. And hearing from somebody who's inside who gets to see this, that he is the kind of guy who's going to bite off your nose and he's going to do those kind of things. We haven't seen that yet. So hearing from somebody that that's the way that he can be can change his perception. He just needs to get out there. He doesn't need to start screaming at people. He doesn't need to snarl at people and from a press conference. But people need to see that. Like if I were the Eagles, what I would do is I would be showing a lot of these. Huh?
No, it's virtual right now, and that's what makes it very, very difficult to to judge somebody. And plus, one thing I noticed this weekend was now that he actually has players to talk about and football to talk about, that's his element. The first several months here, right, has been speculation. He's spending his time watching film. He doesn't really yet have a handle on the team, etc. Now that he's got a 9 draft picks to talk about, and he can go into the X's and O's, you go, oh, wow, it's really detailed here. I get it. I'm hearing more of his philosophy. I'm hearing more of his approach, his methods. So I really enjoyed it. I'm very excited to see what Nick does. I think this football team has a lot of work to do, but the young coaching staff, the accountability that this coaching staff is going to have, for the players is going to be something that this team needs after a really bad 2020 season.
I'm just curious, before we let you go, I know you're busy. Zach Ertz is still on the team. A lot of people thought he would be dealt before, questioned, his salary cap number. Your thoughts on where that goes and if he's an Eagle when this all starts?
Yeah, I don't know. He's a Philadelphia Eagle right now. Look, there clearly wasn't the market that Howie thought, or he's waiting until the post-June 1st time to make a deal. Would the Eagles just flat out release Zach Ertz? I don't really see the benefit of that, right? You're not going to get anything for him. If you keep him in 2021 and he has a good year and he goes sign somewhere else, you get a compensatory draft pick. You make a trade, you get something back. Why would you just release somebody and then have a big hole in your roster? So that's the Eagles' perspective, I think. He's a good player. We all love him. He and Dallas Goedert will form a very nice 1-2 situation. Now, how does Zach Ertz feel about that? I don't know. Sometimes you have to open up your eyes and see what the rest of the world thinks of you. And is he going to go out there and make more? Is he going to go out there and make a killing with a new contract? I don't know. It doesn't look like it right now after the year he had. So maybe Zach Ertz needs to reevaluate his situation as the Eagles, did what they could to gauge the market, and clearly the market was not to their liking.
All right, last question. May 7th, 2021 compared to May 7th, 2020. How does Dave Spadaro feel about the Eagles?
Oh, it's a totally different situation. It's a rebuilding situation, right? Like last year, we were thinking, hey, this team's gonna get back to a nice run in 2019, get to the playoffs. Carson's hot. Offensive line will be healthy. Why can't this team make a good run? And so you see how quickly things change in the NFL. And now the Eagles are a fourth-place team playing a fourth-place schedule. Carson Wentz is in Indianapolis. We got a kid, Jalen Hurts, who we got to see a little bit about last year, and a coach that we have really no sense of. So it is a reminder of how quickly things change in this league, and you never take anything for granted. And I acknowledge that the Eagles have a lot of work to do to build this roster back up. There are some obvious holes on this roster that they just couldn't fill. To me, it's a two draft process, and you look at next year's draft with potentially 3 first round draft picks, and you go, all right, well, let's see. The Eagles hopefully drafted really well in 2021. If they can draft really well in 2022, then they get back in the game. But I'm optimistic because the offensive line comes back healthy, because the Eagles did suffer a lot of injuries last year, because the division is wide open, because it's a fourth-place schedule. So we'll see what happens. Very difficult to predict in the NFL, right? And the other thing, the big thing here is this. I'm really excited and hopeful that fans will be coming back to fill up Lincoln Financial Field starting in September.
Well, we will follow it all at Eagles Insider on Twitter. Follow your work on the Eagles website. Dave, thanks for the time as always. Look forward to seeing your work and learning about this new team.
Thanks, guys. So I'm the Kerryon Johnson move just happened, so I'm scrambling a little bit, getting some work done.
That's why we didn't ask you.
The Eagles claimed a good running back. Yeah, nice running back on waivers, no risk. And these are the kinds of moves that you really have to make to get back to the top of the NFC East.
Sounds good. We weren't going to put you on the spot as you got your information. Thanks for the little evaluation there. We'll look for more. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys. Take care.